all started with a trip to Palm Springs. No, not that trip. This one. Anyways, since our first trip here, we dreamed of owning a vacation rental where we could come stay to relax when we needed a break from the city and rent out when we weren't there. With home prices in LA out of reach, we were renters, but we liked the idea of having our first home purchase be an investment as well. But this video isn't about Palm Springs. A few years ago, they cracked down on vacation rentals by enacting strict ordinances, including that owners can only book a maximum of 36 short-term stays per year.
We were on vacation in Palm Springs in June. I was reading a Palm Springs Life magazine. I found out there's this article about a guy who manages vacation rentals out in the high desert. I thought that was actually a really interesting idea. So I messaged him, and we've been saving up in the meantime to afford a down payment. So it's been about 4 or 5 months since we initially had this idea to finally go on our first scouting trip.
Joshua Tree is in the high desert north of the Coachella Valley. It's less developed and more remote than Palm Springs, so real estate is more affordable. It's also home to Joshua Tree National Park, which gets millions of visitors per year. A lot of people in LA go to Joshua Tree for a more secluded escape: backpackers, artists, millennials on yoga retreats, both, and young actors with big career decisions ahead of them.
Joshua Tree.
Anyway, there were fewer ordinances in Joshua Tree, more land, and maybe most importantly, more affordable. So here's what made it the ideal place to have a vacation rental. First, it's about 130 miles from the second largest city in the US, Los Angeles. Second, it's home to one of 9 national parks located in California. Third, visitation of this national park has been increasing pretty dramatically year over year. Fourth, there aren't a lot of hotels and motels in the area compared to the amount of visitors. Fifth, it's relatively affordable. Sixth, the nightly rates compared to the total investment make it a pretty appealing return on investment. Seventh, it's not overly seasonal. Of course, it is the desert, so summer months are less popular than cooler months, so spring and fall are most popular, but it's better than something like a ski town where it's more reliant on one specific season. And eighth, it's close enough to where we both live to check in on it or just enjoy it for ourselves when it's not being rented. Whenever I get obsessed or whenever I get an idea of something I want to pursue, I research the pants off of it. I wanted to make sure that the Yucca Valley Joshua Tree area was the great market that I thought it was. I want to see what other rentals are going for, how often they're booked, and what amenities they have. So that's what I did. Things looked good. Once we decided on the Yucca Valley Joshua Tree area, we needed to decide whether to buy or build. We had our eye on a 3-bed, 5-bath property on 2.5 acres and also had an ADU, or an accessory dwelling unit, on the property, which would be perfect for the type of rental we wanted. It was less than 20 minutes from the park and listed for about $300,000. But it was pretty outdated, and for it to be a competitive vacation rental, we estimated it would need at least $150,000 to $200,000 just in renovations. Now, there wasn't anything else on the market that really caught our eye, but there was a lot of vacant land. A lot. If we decided on new construction, we could build it exactly how we wanted, with a vacation rental in mind. So next, we met up with a builder in the area who had some projects going on and a lot available for a future project. So we're checking out a finished house that our builder worked on, just see the quality and what it looks like, so that way we have an idea of what ours could look like too. And then went to a project he had just laid the foundation for.
You know, the sink's here, big huge view, so that's your view. The monument's pretty cool view.
We really like the layout of this plan because its main focal point is the courtyard, which emphasizes that indoor-outdoor living people enjoy in Southern California. Then we looked at a lot he had where we could build a similar project. Our initial plan was to spend $40,000 on the land, get the home built for $435,000 with a construction loan, and then convert that loan to a traditional mortgage. We did have a few concerns, however. We wanted to really have control over the look and feel of, well, every inch of it essentially, and the way the agreement between us and the builder would be structured would make us feel limited in our choices. Also, the home was 1,100 square feet, and we really wanted a larger home to accommodate larger groups of people. We ultimately made the decision to hire an architect to draft plans that would give us everything we were looking for in a property. After some mild Googling and emailing, we met with one firm that really seemed to understand what we were after. Kodo focuses on sustainable designs inspired by Scandinavian and Japanese design. Even though they are based in the UK, they partnered with a Southern California company called Prefab to bring their designs to America. So for us, it seemed like the perfect fit. We started by sending them our wish list for a build. We weren't sure how much everything would end up costing, so we just started with our ideal scenario. A 3-bed, 2-bath main house with lots of windows, accordion doors, an open kitchen, etc. Then we wanted a 1-bed, 1-bath casita or guest house. And then a finished garage that could be used as a flex space and potentially have a Murphy bed to accommodate more guests. And finally, a courtyard with a wading pool, built-in seating, fire pit, and an outdoor shower. That all sounds like a lot, but this would make it a highly sought after vacation rental. And we also sent them a few photos just so they could picture what we were talking about. They got to work. Throughout the entirety of this process, one of the most challenging aspects was finding a lender who would give us a loan that would work for this project. New construction adds an additional layer to the standard mortgage process, but also the fact that it wasn't going to be our primary residence was also an issue. I called and emailed just about anyone I thought might be able to help us out, and when I found people that supposedly could help us, just getting them to call me back was virtually impossible because most lenders at this time were slammed with everyone taking advantage of the low interest rates by refinancing.
All right, here we are. Let's take a look.
Meanwhile, a few weeks later, the architects sent us their design.
I love the angles.
Oh my gosh, they moved the pool.
It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, it looks like it's bigger.
We then gave some feedback for potential changes and talked through different ideas.
So we'll kind of pull together like an updated design, updated plan drawings, and then that just kind of like visual reference for you guys. So we'll send that over to you, just check you're happy with it.
Terrific. Thanks for humoring us with all of our requests, Theo. We really appreciate it. You're doing a great job.
Now, you can often wrap the cost of land in with a new construction loan, but lenders advised me it's simpler if we already own the land outright. Now, around this time, I took $8,000 in my Robinhood account to over $40,000 by buying puts when the market was crashing. I withdrew this $40K to my bank before I could give it back to the market. Between the time differences, the world shutting down, and just juggling other projects, it took several months to get our plans complete, but it was worth the wait. We then looped in the builder, Plant Prefab, into our project. Prefabricated homes are where the bulk of the home is built in a factory and then shipped on site. The quality of these homes have drastically improved over the years, so this is a legitimate way to cut some costs and time from a traditional build. Plant Prefab was one of the few we found that would build custom plans. Most prefab companies have their own set of floor plans that they make for efficiency and cost reasons. So by the end of May, we had preliminary pricing from the builder. This build would cost about $666,000, but that doesn't include any site work like pouring the foundation, hooking up utilities, and a handful of other things. Oh, and we'd still have to buy a piece of land, which, let's go do that.
So now we're gonna go look at some lots. We want at least 5 acres. We want there to be utilities on the lot or at the property line nearby. And we also want it to be close to the park entrance. So we have a little bit of criteria and we're gonna try to find one lot that matches all of those things. On to the next. It's just so hilly. We got really nice boulder stacks. Kind of feels like your own little park. I like that boulder stack right there is really cool. Yeah, it's good views, like panoramic. Yeah, and that's a nice valley view right there. It's really nice.
I like it.
Like it?
Yeah.
Well, I think we found the property that we're going to buy today, hopefully. We met up with a real estate agent and showed us a couple of listings that he had that are off market. And one especially appealed to us was 10 acres, tons of Joshua trees on the property, and utilities were nearby. So as long as we can find the price that works for both parties, we may be in business. I'm rolling.
Okay, so the land that we want to buy is how much?
70,000.
70,000. We're gonna offer them 40, and we don't know what they're gonna say. Yeah, so maybe we'll get some land. Maybe we'll get
Cross your fingers.
some people mad at us.
They did make a counteroffer, okay? And you're not all that far apart. They made a counteroffer of 50,000.
You know, the 50 is our absolute top, so I think we'd be glad to accept that offer. Looks like we just
That's
bought
really
some
exciting.
property.
Yeah.
Cool, I didn't expect that to happen.
I know, me either.
So we ended up with a beautiful 10-acre lot, 12 minutes into town and 22 minutes to the park entrance. Utilities were at the property line, it had views of the mountains, so it was pretty perfect. And then I finally talked to a lender who had a loan for a new construction investment property. Finally. We had our plans, we had our prefab builder, we just needed a contractor to handle the site work. But this was spring 2020, and a few weeks after we found the lender, he told me they were pausing that loan product due to the uncertainties of COVID. So yet again, we were without a loan. The more we thought about the next few years of our lives, the more we considered the option of putting our plans on hold and instead making our first home purchase a place where we'd actually settle down. So that's what we did. In October of 2020, we put an offer in on a home that we really loved. We got outbid and was the backup offer. And then in December, the original buyers fell out of escrow and we stepped in. Exactly 1 year ago today, we closed on our dream home. This isn't it though. We've been remodeling it from across the country and have actually never stepped foot in it, but that's a story for another time. And then a week ago, we made the bittersweet decision to list the lot that we bought in Joshua Tree. With the expenses of buying a new home and renovating it and living elsewhere while it has been under construction, we just thought we'd rather have cash on hand if needed. Plus, this real estate market seems very bubbly and macroeconomic factors make the future look a bit concerning. We listed our lot for $115,000 and within 4 days got it under contract for $100,000. It is pretty cool to think that my $8,000 in the stock market plus about $10,000 from our savings turned into a $100,000 piece of land. This certainly wasn't the outcome we expected when we started this journey back in the summer of 2019. So much time, energy, and money went into trying to make this dream a reality. Most often when I'm this determined to make something happen, I can find a way to do so, but getting new construction built in 2020 just wasn't in the cards for us. And obviously, things worked out just fine, even if it was different than we thought. But all of that being said, we still love our house plans and, well, who knows what the future will bring. Thanks for watching.